Hands shot up all around the Security Council on Friday as Brazilian Council President Maria Luiza Ribeiro Viotti called for those in favor of the resolution condemning Israeli settlement building. When Viotti asked for those opposed, one lonely hand shot up, that of Susan Rice, the American ambassador to the UN. Rice's veto was one more in a long line of vetoes in support of America's ally Israel, and it meant that the resolution could not pass in spite of the overwhelming support of more than 115 nations.
A couple of weeks ago, Joe Biden's in Israel, and he's going to start the new round of talks between the Palestinians and the Israelis. And once he gets there, they slap him across the face, and they say, oh, here's some new settlements that we're building. And so Joe Biden was so mad, he showed up an hour and a half late to dinner. It's a way of Netanyahu saying to America, I'm bigger than you are. I'm in charge here. You're not the boss of me. I'm the boss of you. What are you going to do about it? So now here's what America's done about it. In our infinite fury over this snub, Obama has invited Netanyahu, who is now in America, to dinner. Hillary Clinton gave a speech saying that our commitment to Israel is rock solid. And then Netanyahu went to Congress today, and for the first time, we have bipartisanship. Both Pelosi and John Boehner were up his ass. And they did a press conference outside of, or inside of Netanyahu's ass, so poked their heads out and spoke to the mics. We love Israel. The one thing we can agree on is how much we love Israel. All right, I got it. And, you know, the joint statement was about how no one can ever question the allegiance of the United States Congress to Israel. Our own president can't get bipartisanship on anything. They don't have as much allegiance to our president as they do to the Israeli prime minister. He went to the United States Congress and was greeted like a king, a hero, a savior. He got Congress, bigger applause than our president.
I have the high privilege and the distinct honor of presenting to you His Excellency Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel.
Here in the United States of America, there apparently is no distinction. It doesn't matter if the Prime Minister of Israel is left-wing or right-wing. It doesn't matter if our senators and congressmen are right-wing, left-wing, liberal, Democrat, Republican, conservative. It does not matter. The one and only thing that is a fact in American politics today is that no matter who is the Prime Minister of Israel, they will be greeted as the second coming.
I do see a lot of old friends here. And I see a lot of new friends of Israel here as well. Democrats and Republicans alike. Israel has no better friend than America, and America has no better friend than Israel.
There is tremendous pressure inside the political process to make sure that the voters stay aligned inside either the Democrat or Republican parties. Why? Because both of those parties have been captured by special interests. And those special interests are, quite frankly, the antithesis of the interests of the people. What I bumped into at almost every turn were these special interests. And there's no more special interest that has any more influence than the pro-Israel lobby. My father had to ask the question publicly, what does Stone Mountain, Georgia, have to do with Israel? What I was doing was servicing the needs of my constituents. And I was not allowed to do that because I did not toe the line on U.S. policy for Israel.
What line is that they wanted? Were you told directly that you had to toe a line, or explain that to me?
Well, every candidate for Congress at that time had a pledge. They were given a pledge to sign. And I was new on the scene. And so the pledge had Jerusalem as the capital city, the military superiority of Israel.
American Congress people have to sign this pledge.
Yes, you sign the pledge. If you don't sign the pledge, you don't get money. So, for example, it was almost like water torture for me. My parents observed this. I would get a call, and the person on the other end of the phone would say, I want to do a fundraiser for you. And then we would get into the planning. I would get really excited because, of course, you have to have money in order to run a campaign. And then 2 weeks, 3 weeks into the planning, they would say, did you sign the pledge? And then I would say, no, I didn't sign the pledge. And then my fundraiser would go, this is what is done for 535 members of the United States Congress. 100 senators, 435 members of the House of Representatives have to now write a paragraph, which basically says the same thing. So it's not a pledge, but it's a paragraph, and you post it, and, you know, there are these forums you have to go to at the synagogues or whatever. And then, you know, if you don't perform appropriately, then you don't get money to run your campaign. The problem is that it requires an awful lot of money to run a campaign. People can read about this on the internet if they're interested. If you go to thomas.loc.gov, that is the official United States Congress website. And if you put in the name Gus Savage, because Gus Savage was a black member of Congress who was targeted by the pro-Israel lobby. And he had the foresight to use his position as an incumbent in the House of Representatives to put his experience on the congressional record.
If you're, you know, a supporter of Israel, don't be comical and tell me that Israel is not firmly in control of the United States Congress. And generally speaking of almost all of the United States politicians, of course they are. The Israeli lobby in America is enormously powerful. Now, should they be? No, but they figured out how to, you know, work the system. So right now, when Pelosi and Boehner get together and they say, under no conditions will we ever do anything that the right-wing government of Israel doesn't agree to. So then you've totally taken away the power from Obama, even if he wanted to act tough. And in the end of the day, what's going to happen is Netanyahu's going to win, because he has more political clout here than Obama does. That is a rock-solid fact. And he will walk out, and he's already won. He already told Biden and Obama and Hillary Clinton, I'm going to keep building those settlements in East Jerusalem, because I don't view it as East Jerusalem. I view it as Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, that is not part of the negotiations. Now, the Palestinians and the rest of the world and the United Nations and the United States think it is part of the negotiations, and that it is occupied territory, and it should go back to the Palestinians. But Netanyahu is saying, what are you going to do about it? I'm going to build those settlements, and I'm going to annex East Jerusalem, and it's going to be mine. And since I control your Congress, and largely your administration, there's not a damn thing you can do about it. And he's largely right.
The latest battlefield in the fight for land being waged on Palestinian residents of East Jerusalem. Weeks of sporadic clashes in Silwan between police and Palestinians are becoming more intense. On Sunday, after a minor incident involving Palestinian children cursing guards protecting Jewish settlers, the Israeli police, backed up by helicopters, raided the neighborhood, injuring several Palestinians. Ahmed and his 8-month pregnant wife were inside their home next door to a settler house when the police suddenly attacked.
They broke the door down and threw gas canisters into the house. We couldn't get out. 4 children fainted from the gas, and so too did my pregnant wife. We're expecting more violence.
Silwan is a Palestinian neighborhood near Jerusalem's Old City. Jewish settlers are increasingly encroaching on the land. Tension here is at an all-time high after the Jerusalem municipality approved a controversial plan to demolish 22 Palestinian homes to make way for a park and shopping complex. The scheme still needs final approval, but settlers are taking the law into their own hands.
The Jewish settlers in this Palestinian neighborhood have told residents they have until July 4th to leave their homes. After that, they promise they'll bring private security guards to forcibly evict them.
And here's the man behind it all, Jerusalem's right-wing millionaire mayor. We asked him whether he's considering stopping the project in light of the reaction.
The Silwan plan is for the benefit of the residents of Silwan, and indeed that is what we put in the table. It is brought to the government, and the government likes the plan.
Mir Margalit is a city council member and one of the few who voted against the Silwan plan at the municipality. He's now preparing to send a petition to the High Court to stop the demolitions. But there are even more pressing issues, not least this map showing the latest version of the so-called Jerusalem Master Plan. Sources say it's soon to be approved. Its goal to extend Jewish presence in Jerusalem. Space has also been set aside for new Palestinian neighborhoods, but that's purely cosmetic, says MaNgLeD, because Palestinians won't be able to get building permits.
The major problem is that you have to prove ownership on the land. To prove ownership, you have to bring a document from the National Land Register. 99% of the Palestinians in East Jerusalem, like in the West Bank, they don't have documents from the National Land Register.
Details Prime Minister Netanyahu will hope the US president won't bring up during their meeting next week. Israel's continued illegal building is set to top the agenda. The US wants a halt to settlements and work to begin toward creating a Palestinian state. But events on the ground show Israel has other plans.
So, all this, the rest of it is just theater. It's just people playing their roles. They'll talk a little tough, then they'll have dinners, and they'll have speeches.